Hi guys, I hope everybody is safe and healthy and happy right now. As promised, this week's going to be really short because I was out of town last weekend, so I didn't get a lot of stitching done, um, but it was good for me mentally health-wise, so I'm glad I did it. And we'll jump right back in next week with another watching me try to learn how to do something. I've got something in mind. I had a request from a subscriber, so I think if I have time to do the research, I will work on that next week. What that is, guess you'll have to wait and see. Anyway, so this week is just going to be a quick WIP update, and I don't have a whole lot of update to give you. So here we go, we'll jump right in. The first one is the webinar shawl. I haven't gotten a lot done, maybe like 6 rows. I finished the last round of the garter and I'm back into the mesh. Without webinars, it's amazing how much slower I guess I'm calling it now my not webinar shawl, is going. So it's getting there slowly but surely. And I don't know if you can tell, but it is definitely a little bit longer. I'm getting into this next batch of mesh up here at the top, and this one is about as wide as this one, so I'm not quite half done with it. And then I'll get back into the garter, and then I have a really long stretch of mesh, which is pretty nerve-wracking because that's where I drop stitches, and well, the more I have to do, the more chance I have to drop stitches, so that makes me a little nervous. But for cross stitch, again, also don't have very much progress on the birth announcement. I actually took this one with me, and I got a little bit done on it. You can see Harry's basically done. Still have to get his hand and his scarf done. I didn't have those colors with me, but I have to do that and then the back stitching and he'll be done, and then all that will be left is the personalization. I still have to frog this. I just can't bring myself to do it because I hate going backwards, but I know I have to do it eventually. But the personalization has started, working on the birth date, and Harry's almost done, so I probably won't work on this one a lot this week just for reasons. Not necessarily worth going into, but I've got a plan for this week, which is unusual for me. So, got a very little bit done on Pandemic. My plan is to kind of work a page across. I've been working like 20 rows, 20 stitches wide. I'm working my way down to the bottom of the first page. I'm about halfway, I think, and then I'll do the next 20 stitches over. This batch of 20 actually only had like 12 stitches because the first 8 were blank. But so that's where I am with that one, about halfway done with the first column that I've made myself, and I'll keep working. I'm doing this primarily in Pattern Keeper, but I've also printed the pattern because Pattern Keeper doesn't support backstitch. So I'm kind of following along. Hopefully I won't miss any backstitch, just because it's not in Pattern Keeper. But with a pattern this big, it's so much easier to keep track in Pattern Keeper of where you are and how many stitches you've gotten done. Temperature stitch along. I love this more every time I work on it, seriously. It's just gorgeous. And here is the first part of the year. So this is current through June 30th. We're at a spot where it's nice and all blocked off. I really love that you can kind of see where summer started, and we're working our way around. I haven't had any 90-degree days since here, but I've been tracking, and I'm going to be stitching some more on this afternoon, getting the next week's worth in, and there are a few 90-degree days in there, a little bit more red, but this side is probably going to be finished off now with the nice orange to match the rest of it. because it's been hot and humid and sticky and uncomfortable here. And even when I was up north, it was hot and humid and sticky and uncomfortable there. Um, I know some people have been doing this, that they're stitching where they are. So like if they, for instance, in here where it was really cold, like really, really cold, I was in South Carolina and it was negative here. No, I don't think it ever got negative, but it was like 2 degrees here and it was 60 there. And you can see there's no bright section in here. So I decided to stay with doing Indiana, just because I kind of want to see like the temperature record for the year. I'm a dork like that. I like data. And this is art and data. So it's perfect. But yeah, I wanted to have it all for the same place. So these are the temperatures that are in Indiana, regardless of where I was, and regardless of where I will be. It's always going to be Indiana, because I think it'd be cool eventually after a few years to be able to like look at how the weather was different from year to year at around the same time. So there's that one, current through June 30th. And I love it. And then last but not least, I've decided to take a break and work on something that I want to work on. A lot of what I've been doing lately has been the 5 pieces I have that are gifts. Like I said, none of them has an actual due date. I'd like to get the birth announcement out sooner rather than later, before the child is 1. I've got actually quite a long time before the child is 1. I think he was born in March. So I've got time. None of them are on a deadline. Most of them aren't even known about, so it's going to be a total surprise to the recipient when they get it, so I don't really feel like pressured. So I am going to take some time and just do something that I want to do, and that is I want to update my Wonders of Space stitch along, because I'm way behind. This is one of my favorites. It's one I'm making for me, and I deserve it. So I'm currently working on April, the Crab Nebula, just starting to fill in some color. The thing I like about this, the way that Claire Bray from Climbing Goat Designs set this up for release, is that you have a confetti month. So like the Pillars of Creation, there's a lot of confetti. This one took a long time. The Crab Nebula is a lot of confetti. It's taking a while. But then the next one is more like Pluto and like the Ring Nebula, where it's a lot more blocks of solid colors. It's going to stitch up really fast. So she alternates like that. One that takes a while, one that doesn't, one that takes a while, one that doesn't. So I'm 3 months behind now. I've got April, May is going to be up here, and then I think June is here. And then it's July 7th right now, and July comes out on July 15th. So my goal is to have this caught up before July comes out. And I'm really excited to see what July is. But yeah, I've decided this one is a relatively fast stitch for a stitch along, and I want to keep up with it. And I want to get it caught up and then try to keep up with it. So yeah, I'm kind of bumping this one up the priority list just because I really love it and it makes me happy to work on it. So why shouldn't I be happy? So, like I said, less than 10 minutes. That was a really short update. I'm going to make it a little bit longer because I'm going to talk about a couple of things that are coming up. So first of all, I have signed up for the Good Place Stitch Along. That is Son of a Stitch is putting that together. If you've seen me work on Hooked on Sonics, which you haven't in a while, but if you have seen me talk about that one, that he designed that one as well. So I'm really excited about this. I love the Good Place, so that should be coming out soon. I still have to get fabric for that one. It turns out I don't have fabric big enough or small enough depending on how you look at it. It's really cool the way he's doing it. There's like 2 different ways you can do it. They're designed that they can all be standalone, so that you can make each one, like I usually work on 16 count. So you can make each one on a 9-inch square of 16 count. Or you can do it on one great big piece. And I still haven't decided what way I'm doing it yet. It'd probably actually be cheaper to just buy a great big piece, but I have so many big pieces that I'm working on. It'd be nice to have some just small stuff that I could like whip out really quickly. So that is coming up. That should be released soon. And then I just found out that in September, Autumn Lane Stitchery, which if you've been following me on Instagram lately, I've been doing the 31 days of cross stitch. And Autumn Lane Stitchery was one that I called out as my favorite designer for, I think it was day 3. But anyway, they're coming out with a stitch along. Something like Dark Queen of the Sea or something. I don't know. It just sounds really cool. It sounds like sounds like it'd be right up my alley. It starts in September. They've teamed up with Under the Sea Fabrics for a specialty dyed fabric, and then Under the Sea is also where you can get the bead pack and the specialty threads. So, I don't have any money, but I want to do it. I might have to move some things around because I really want to do that one. So yeah, that is, let's face it, that's most likely on the radar for the next little bit as well. So yeah, those are coming down the pipe. One thing I did want to give you a quick recommendation. If you're into podcasts lately, I've been listening to Uncover, which is a podcast put out by the CBC. And it's really interesting. Each season they have like a different story that they follow. I just finished season 4. They mostly have a true crime bent. Season 4 was about the disappearance of 4 elderly people in Ontario, and was really fascinating. The first season is especially fascinating. That was called Escaping NXIVM, and it was an interview with one of the people who ultimately became one of the whistleblowers with the NXIVM situation. And if you haven't heard, that was the quote-unquote sex cult that the Smallville actress was involved in, and it was just really interesting to talk to someone who had been on the inside of that and kind of hear how she got involved and how quickly she got involved too deep. And yeah, it was interesting. So if you like podcasts while you stitch, and the first season, I mean, it's about obviously this is the things that happen with NXIVM are crimes, but it's not really like a true crime. The following seasons definitely are. I've listened to the one about the missing seniors, and then there was one about a serial killer stalking gay men in Toronto, and then there was one about which was another really interesting one. Season 2 is about a bomb on board a plane like decades and decades ago, and they've kind of reopened it and looked at the original suspects. So it was more of a cold case thing than like the true crime serial killer that you get from a lot of true crime podcasts. So anyway, it's called Uncover. It's by CBC Podcasts. So if you want to check that out, then check that out. There we go, less than 15 minutes. Like I said, I'll be back next week. Next week will be one of my little longer ones. I have to do some research. I have a couple ideas, but I think I know what it's going to be. So I hope everybody has a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.